Mark David Chapman, el asesino confeso de John Lennon, un psicópata que el 8 de diciembre de 1980 dejó sin vida a quien fue quizás el ícono más grande de la historia del rock, y dejó en duelo perpetuo a millones de fans de los Beatles. Todos lo conocemos como el demonio en persona, un psicópata delirante, un maníaco obsesivo compulsivo, un onanista consumado. Así es como conocemos a Mark David Chapman. Sin embargo, muy pocos conocemos su otro lado, su otra faceta, su lado humano, el lado espiritual de un cristiano pegado al camino de Dios, de un ángel altruista para los muchachos del YMCA en donde él trabajaba, el hombre de IQ elevado, bondadoso y caritativo, noble y trabajador, el de ser humano, que ríe pero que también llora, el otaku, el nerd, el amante de la literatura. El día de hoy en este canal nos vamos a enterar sobre quién fue realmente Mark Chapman. De esa entrevista histórica que Larry King le hace a Chapman en 1992, cuando este cumplía 12 años de condena por la muerte de Lennon, se han traducido ciertos fragmentos al español. Sin embargo, me he llevado la sorpresa que muchos de estos videos hablan de lo mismo. Una parte de la entrevista en donde Chapman cuenta muy literal y morbosamente cómo asesina a John Lennon. Obviamente, para todos aquellos que conocemos el asesinato, no tiene nada de extraordinario. Simplemente Chapman va al departamento en Manhattan donde vive John Lennon, lo espera y cuando lo ve llegar con Yoko Ono, le dispara por la espalda 5 veces, le da 4 y lo mata. Y después espera que la policía llegue y se lo lleve preso. Nada de asombroso. Sin embargo, no se han traducido las partes más importantes de la entrevista donde Chapman da a conocer su psicología, sus motivaciones, revela su mente perversa y enferma. Y Larry King hace un gran trabajo para introducirse dentro de la psiquis de este criminal. Entonces me tomé el atrevimiento de llamar a mis amigos de Liberty Dubbing para que hagan una traducción de este video, de esta entrevista, y aquí les dejo los resultados. Disfruten.
That the young man who shot John Lennon was not you. What are you saying?
It was me, Larry, and I accept full responsibility for what I did. I've seen places where I'm blaming the devil, and I hope that isn't kept going after this interview. I'm not blaming the devil, I'm blaming myself, but in the major sense, it wasn't me because I'm better now. I'm normal, I'm functioning, I have a lovely wife, and we have a great marriage, as much as, you know, can be had from here, from Attica. But I'm not the same person in the major sense because back then I was lost and I didn't know who I was, but now I do.
All right. But so it was you, but the personality of you is different now.
Well, I didn't have a personality then, and I do now.
All right, who was Mark David Chapman?
On December 8, 1980, Mark David Chapman was a very confused person. He was literally living inside of a paperback novel, J.D. Salinger's A Catcher in the Rye. He was vacillating between suicide, between catching the first taxi home back to Hawaii, between killing, as you said, an icon.
By the way, would you have killed someone else, do you think? Would Mark David have done that if it weren't Lennon?
The Secret Service asked me that if Lennon would had unfortunately died a few days prior, say in an automobile accident, would you have stalked someone else? I can't answer that question. I don't know. I was so bonded with John Lennon at that point. What I told them is I'd probably be crushed, and at that point I don't know what I would have done.
Therefore, you have to have daily regrets.
I have regrets. I'm sorry for what I did. I realize now that I really ended a man's life. Then he was an album cover to me. He didn't exist even when I met him earlier that day when he signed the album for me, which he did very graciously. And he was not a phony, by the way. He was very patient, and he was very cordial, and he asked me if there was anything else. So if that didn't register, and I had also met his son that day, if that didn't register that he was a human being, then I wasn't perceiving him as such. I just saw him as a two-dimensional celebrity with no real feelings.
Why did Mark David Chapman want to shoot the album cover?
Mark David Chapman at that point was a walking shell who didn't ever learn how to let out his feelings of anger, of rage, of disappointment. Mark David Chapman was a failure in his own mind. He wanted to become somebody important, Larry. He didn't know how to handle being a nobody. He tried to be a somebody through his years, but as he progressively got worse, and I believe I was schizophrenic at the time, no one can tell me I wasn't, although I was responsible, Mark David Chapman struck out at something he perceived to be phony, something he was angry at, to become something he wasn't, to become somebody.
Mark, why are you blaming a book?
I'm not blaming a book. I blame myself for crawling inside of the book, and I certainly want to say that J.D. Salinger and The Catch in the Rye didn't cause me to kill John Lennon. In fact, I wrote to J.D. Salinger. I got his box number from someone, and I apologize to him for this. I feel badly about that. It's my fault. I crawled in, found my pseudo-self within these pages.
In Holden.
And played out the whole thing.
But Holden wasn't violent.
Holden wasn't violent, but he had a violent thought of shooting someone, of emptying a revolver into this fellow's stomach, someone that had done him wrong. But you're right, he was a basically very sensitive person, and he probably would not have killed anybody as I did, but that's fiction, and reality was standing in front of the Dakota.
What, Mark, got you better? What cured what you believe was schizophrenia?
Well, not medication and not doctors, but the Lord. I've walked in the power of the Lord now for a number of years.
How'd that happen?
Well, I became a Christian when I was 16, Larry, and that lasted about a year of genuine walking with Him. Through my life, off and on, I have struggled with different things, as we all do, and at those times I would turn to the Lord. The night of the death of John Lennon, I was far from Him. I wasn't listening to Him. I wasn't reading the Bible anymore. Today, I'm different. I read the Bible, I pray, and I walk with Him. He forgives me. He doesn't condone what I did, and that's a very important thing. He didn't like what I did 12 years ago. He didn't like all the pain I caused everybody, and especially John's widow. But He forgives me, and He hears me, and He listens to me, and He is the one, all these years, that has brought me out of the abyss, not medications or counseling.